This BMW will cost you about $10,000 in repairs, and this one, almost nothing. They're the same model, but one has BMW's best inline-six engines ever made, and the other, well... Oh, fuck. And here's the problem. Most people can't tell the difference. That's why everybody says buying a BMW is a financial suicide.
Break my
I just paid $1,700 for the daily.
Literally started the car.
But what if I told you BMW actually made some of the greatest cars ever built? They just also made some of the worst. But it's not random. You see, BMW went through 5 distinct eras, and in this video I'm breaking down exactly which model from which era is worth buying, and which ones will financially destroy you. And it all starts with...
banger after banger after banger after certified banger. I don't miss.
BMW didn't miss. Nobody missed. This was the golden era. Simple, mechanical, bulletproof. You cannot go wrong with any of the cars from this era. Well, almost. I would avoid the V8s. They're not unreliable per se, but if something goes wrong, you need to be prepared to spend some serious dollars. But do avoid the V12s. Seriously, they're overcomplicated, full of early wannabe, fancy electronics, and everything is buried underneath something else. Cool engines, but I wouldn't own one. I also made a dedicated video about classic BMWs, so if you're into that, go check that out first. Now, around 2001, something changed. This is where things got complicated. Cars like E60 and E90 arrived. More tech, more size, more everything. And for the first time, BMW introduced some genuinely bad engines. And this is where I'll let you in on a little secret. When it comes to BMWs, you're not buying a BMW model. You're buying a BMW engine. The M54. The last of the old school inline sixes. It's reliable, it sounds great, and it feels like a proper BMW engine. And buy a 3-liter version. Trust me. The N52. Probably BMW's best non-M naturally aspirated inline-six engine. It's a bit more advanced than the M54, but still very reliable. Smoother, more efficient, higher revving, and more powerful at the same time. So here are the cars from this era with these two engines that are actually worth buying. E39 530i. Yeah, they still made E39s in the 2000s. That's why I'm calling this the transition era. And a 530i is basically the one to buy and to own. E46 330i. I have one. It's right there. And it's very, very good. Z3 3.0i. The newest engine you can get in an old school car. It literally has the entire rear suspension from an E30, which is 60s technology. Front suspension from the E36 and a 231 horsepower engine from the 2000s. Perfect. This is what we all want our E30s to feel like. And this one is stock from the factory. Z4 3.0i. Old school engine, new school handling. Z4 3.0 SI. N52, new engine, even more powerful. E87 130i. A naturally aspirated inline-six rear-wheel drive manual hatchback. Bro, like, this doesn't exist anymore. This never existed. This was like once in a lifetime. E90 330i, but pre-facelift. Just don't get a facelift if you live in Europe, because that one belongs in this era. More on this later. E60 530i. Again, only up to 2006 or 7 if you live in Europe. E46 M3. I know you want this car. I also want this car. This car is like, what? But 5 to 8,000 kilometer oil changes are absolutely necessary, because rod bearings will go. It's a great car, but it needs special care. X3 or X5 3.0i. Both come with M54 and N52. If you're into SUVs, cool cars, but I would just get a diesel, the M57, because those cars kind of need torque. So Now, earlier I said that this was the first era that BMW introduced some genuinely bad engines. And those are all 4-cylinder petrol engines. N42, N45, and 46. Stay away from these engines. I mean, they're not all bad, but like, they're known for being unreliable. So if they're known for being unreliable, why would you even buy one? Plus, they're slow as and have awful fuel economy for being that slow. So, just don't get one. Seriously, I would never buy a petrol 4-cylinder BMW from this era. Skip the V8s as well, because they're trash, and that's E39 M5 included. Great car, but if you don't have serious background, if you know what I mean, don't plan on buying one. Seriously. V12, however, it was only available in the E65 760i and Li, and that car had the same engine as a Phantom. So if you find one, fuck it, keep it, enjoy it, drive it, chauffeur it, because you basically have a Rolls now. Just don't expect it to be reliable. Do not buy the E60 M5. Seriously, don't. If you're not a mechanic or friends with one and don't have some serious dough, skip it. Now, the era that absolutely killed BMW's reputation, and the era from which you should stay as far away from as possible. AKA the Dark Times. You see, BMW got pressured. They needed more power, more efficiency, and they wanted it now. Enter the N54. This engine can be found in cars like 135i, 335i, 535i. Basically anything that ends with a 35i from this era. Twin turbos, massive tuning potential. They called it the European 2JZ, and that's kind of true when it works. High pressure fuel pumps, injectors, wastegates, turbos themselves. Problems on problems. Yeah, some owners got lucky. Maybe you have one with 200,000 miles on it, and you're already writing a comment like, oh my... Look, miracles do happen. But if you're buying a BMW right now, don't bet on a miracle. And now you might be thinking, okay, then I'll just get a 330i. But like, nope, because a facelift 330i got an N53 engine. And that N53 engine is basically the same in terms of reliability as the N54, but without the turbos. So you're like double That's if you live in Europe. If you're in America, you guys never got the facelift E90 330i. Want a V8? Let me think. Nope. Same goes for the E90, 92, and 3. I know they look good, I know they sound good. But like, again, rod bearings, throttle actuators and stuff, like maintenance, costs. I mean, like, only buy it if you're like super obsessed with it and you're like prepared financially, then it's okay. And I'm not hating here. I don't want to scare anybody. Like, if you like the car, know the problems, are willing to address those problems, then, go for it. So which cars are actually the ones to buy from this era? Well, I think none. But you see, BMW learned. They realized they screwed up, so they launched the N55, a fixed N54, now with a single twin scroll turbo, more reliable, but still not perfect. It wasn't the return to the golden era, but I think it was the step in the right direction. So let's talk cars. Late E90 335i. If you want a turbo E90, this is the one to buy. Just make sure it's a 2010 to 2012 with the N55, not the N54. F20 M135i, F22 M235i. Hatchback or coupe, basically the same cars, Choose whatever you like. F30 335i, F32 435i. Now, let's talk about that N55 engine. Yeah, it's better than the N54, but no, it's not bulletproof. I think it's always a gamble with these engines. You might get one that runs forever, but you might not. I personally know people that have cars with these engines and had zero problems in like a lot of years. But I also heard some horror stories. Personally, I wouldn't buy an M235i or a 335i, not unless I truly trusted the previous owner and what kind of preventative maintenance and service history it has. So yeah, F80, F82, M3 and M4. Great cars. That S55 is solid, twin turbo straight 6, very powerful. But again, like with any M car, 5 to 8,000 kilometer oil changes. That's 3 to 5,000 miles. No excuses, because those engines are delicate engines. Rod bearings are a known concern and preventable. But overall, great cars. Now, what to avoid? Again, all 4-cylinder petrol engines. Skip the V8s, they didn't really get any better, and that includes the M5. Just don't bother with that. Also, this is the era when BMW started cramming X-Drive and automatics into everything. The good news? This is when BMW automatics actually got great. Bad news? BMW claimed the oil in the transmission is lifetime. It's not. That's why so many of these gearboxes fail after high mileage. Just change the oil and you'll be good. Now, as for the X-Drive, I would skip it if you don't really need it. Not only it worsens the driving feel, but it adds another layer of stuff that can go wrong. It's also very picky about tires. You need the tires with the exact same circumference, or you can mess up your differentials. Also, disclaimer, I'm not a mechanic, right? I don't know all the ins and outs of every BMW, right? But I think this is just some general BMW enthusiast knowledge that I've gathered over the past 10 years. And I think anybody that's planning to buy a BMW should know this. That's it. Okay, this is it. BMW's comeback. Sort of. The B58 Inline 6. Right now, it's considered to be one of the most reliable BMW inline 6 engines ever. And that includes the classics. Is it too early to tell? Yes, it is. These engines have been around for 10 years now? Long enough to prove themselves, but we still don't know what happens at 15, 20 years. So far it's looking good. Although it still has all the BMW problems, like every BMW engine from 1990 on, like cooling system problems because of all the plastic parts, but the engine itself tends to be okay. That said, not everybody is convinced yet. Some people, especially mechanics, trust the old N55 a little bit more, just because all the issues are known by now, and if you address them early on, they will treat you well. But with the B58, new versions are still coming out. BMW is still improving it, and not everything about its long-term reliability is known yet. Now, finally, after 20 years of bad 4-cylinder engines, BMW finally got it right. The B48 4-cylinder petrol engine is basically the same as the B58 minus 2 cylinders. Not as powerful, but still okay. I recently drove a 2022 230i. Good car, but this engine, while good, it's a bit asthmatic at the top. So what to buy from this era? F20, F22, M140i, M240i. Now these I would buy, the facelift versions of the M130i and the M230i, which I said that I wouldn't buy. Now these I would buy. Also the 340i and the 440i, the same gen, good. G20 330i or M340i, same with the 4 Series. G24 230i, M240i. G29 Z4 M40i, basically a Supra. X3 M40i or X4 M40i. fast and kind of cool SUVs, you know, if you're into that. If somebody forced me to buy an SUV, I would probably buy this one. You know, anything with a 30i or 40i is, I guess, good from this era. I would stay away from the hybrids because, I don't know, battery stuff scares me. Okay, now we need to talk about the M2, the OG one. It has the N55, same as the M235i, which I said I wouldn't buy. But I would buy the M2. Why? Well, because I guess the owners of the M2 are, or were, a bit more careful with their cars. I mean, that's not 100%, but like... You know, the M2 is a car that people saved up for, I guess, you know, but the M230i, for example, is just some sketchy dude's daily with like missing oil changes. So, you know, it's not as bulletproof as my, you know, 2001 330 Ci, but I guess it's a good car and I would totally have one. Now, the latest M cars. G87 M2, G80 M3, G82 M4. I think those cars are legendary. The looks are subjective, you know, they're not beautiful, but they're sick. And I think they will age like fine wine. They're very powerful and have already proven themselves to be quite reliable for an M car. So if you can afford one, I would suggest buy one. But there's always but with those M cars, man. My ex-boss has an X4 M. Last week he called me and he was like, "You're not gonna believe what happened." I was like, "What?" "My car died." I was like, "What?" "Yeah, I took it to the mechanic, he said rod bearings." So I was like, "What the f***? What do you mean rod bearings?" Oil filters tend to disintegrate. I don't know why, probably because of all that heat. And then that causes rod bearing failure. So, you know guys, just change your oil. Don't trust official BMW intervals. They are always wrong. Same with the transmission, same with engine, same with everything. You know, you gotta treat those M cars like they're fragile little babies. You know, they're super fun, powerful, but if neglected, they will grenade themselves. They absolutely will. You know, these are still like proper race engines almost at this point, right? Like 3-liter, 500 and more horsepower. You know, there's a lot of stress, a lot of heat that these engines have to endure. You know, and it's, I don't know, I think it's a miracle that these engines even work and that they put them in street cars. Like this is, to me, it's mind-blowing. So, here's how to not get screwed no matter which BMW you get. Remember, you're not buying a BMW model, you're buying a BMW engine. That's why I gave you those engine codes. So all you need to do is look up your car or your future car by chassis code. Let's say you want a 2014 3 Series. Just type in BMW F30 on Wikipedia, scroll down, and you'll see exactly which years got which engines. Do that and you'll know if you're getting one of BMW's best or one of their worst. Also, remember to change your oil, do your transmission oil and diff oil, skip all the fancy options, and I don't mean heated seats, you know, those are okay. I mean like air suspension, soft closed doors, automatic trunks, stuff like that. But, you know, even bad ones can last forever, and even good ones can grenade themselves after like a couple of months. So, if you're not a first owner, you don't know what happened to these cars in their first and most important part of their life. You know, you're in the dark. It's always a gamble. You know, BMWs are great cars, powerful cars, but as one smart man once said, with great power
comes frequent oil changes.
They are, at the end of the day, premium cars, and they require premium care. They're not your 2000s Toyota, you know, you should know that. Some are, okay, some are. Some old ones are. But still, let me know in the comments which BMW you want to have, or have, and how has it been treating you? And if you enjoyed this video, please like and consider subscribing. It really helps me out a lot. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. And now I have to find a new engine for this old piece of crap.